All right, what's up, guys? We're going to be talking about Keynote today, and Keynote is basically Apple's version of PowerPoint. And there's a little bit different components to Keynote. The biggest thing I've seen is that Keynote is a little bit easier to import an image or video file than it is with PowerPoint, but both get the job done, both are presentation tools, and so a lot of it's dependent on what your teacher wants you to use. So if you don't have Keynote installed, go ahead and go to self-service and install it. And I'm going to click on Keynote and open it up. And right now it takes me to my Keynote recents. It might take you to like a introductory login screen or something like that. But just go through that, and then we're going to start creating a slideshow by clicking on the plus at the top. And I'm just going to choose a presentation style. It doesn't really matter. There's a ton of themes to choose from. And it tells me to double tap to edit. So I'm going to say this is my presentation. And then I'll come here and say it's awesome. So right now I can see that I've got my title here, and I actually don't like that it's on 2 lines. So I'm going to grab this and pull it out to the side, and then I want to make sure it's centered. And the way you do that is you can see these grid lines that pop up, and that's going to tell you if you're centered left to right or up and down. And so it's awesome. That looks like it's centered, and there we go. So I'm good with this title slide. Now, if I want to add a new slide, there are your toolbars at the top right, but to add a new slide, it's at the bottom left. So there's a plus here. And this tells you all the different types of slides you can add. So you can add one that's only pictures, you can add something that's primarily textual, or a combination of the two. So I'm gonna grab one of these that's kind of like a half and half, and I'm gonna say, look at this cool picture. And I could use this picture that they have, but most of the time you're going to be using pictures of a topic that you're researching. And so I'm going to actually go in here and delete this picture, and I want to add something to this. So I click on the plus at the top, and I notice that there's these different tabs at the top of this drop down. This one is for photo, video, image gallery, insert from, or I could even draw or put a math equation if I wanted to. So let's say that I am going to use my camera because I'm in a class and the project is take a picture or video of someone and import it here or something. So I grab my camera and I see that I've got this cool mountain range that I'm looking at all of a sudden. Snap a picture of that, and at the bottom I say use photo, and it imports it huge. And so I'm going to come down here and minimize it, and I could crop this if I wanted to, but for right now I'm just going to leave it like this. And the way you would crop it is through this style and arrange, and you can flip it and all that stuff. But I'm gonna leave it here right now, and I can say, look at this cool picture, and maybe I can say it's a mountain, right? So this is a great slide. Well, it's not super great, but it gets the job done. And let's say that this is my whole presentation, and I finished with everything. I'm not going to insert any symbols or charts right now, but just know that that's where you can do that with the plus at the top. So now I want to share this with my teacher. And so I'm going to click on the 3 dots at the top. And as a side note, you can look and find different like transitions and stuff. I know that a lot of you guys like to do transitions, or you can have presenter notes where you can say slide 2, mountains, right? Slide 2 mountain. But I can toggle that presenter notes off if I want to. This light table view shows all my slides at once, but I like the slide view. And so I can do a bunch of different things, and y'all can play around with this if you want to. But I'm going to share this with my teacher, and there's a couple ways I can share it. I can airdrop it to them. I could copy this to OneDrive, and I would always recommend that if you're creating a Keynote presentation, you copy it to your OneDrive and save it in whatever folder you have for that class. Because while Keynote saves the presentations locally on your iPad, if you ever wanted to access it from another device, you're not going to be able to get that. So I would typically copy to OneDrive, but if your teacher is asking you to submit a file, you're going to copy to Schoology and go through this submit file process that we've done before. So if I'm back in Keynote, I kind of want to know, where does this thing live and how can I find it? So at the top left, I click on presentations, and I see that the presentation I just worked on is in my recents. So if I want to hold this, I can rename it, and I'm going to say that this is my mountain presentation, or maybe mountains. Press done. And this is where you will find all your Keynote presentations to use. So I would encourage you to take some time and play around with Keynote, add some different symbols, import pictures, and just kind of see the differences between that and a PowerPoint. And remember, ultimately, it's going to be based on what your teacher wants you to use and what tool they prefer to grade your work in. Okay, so a lot of teachers are more comfortable with PowerPoint, and that's okay. But if they give you the choice to do something different, you can always go with Keynote because it'll accomplish everything you want it to.